Introducing SFIA 8, the latest version of the skills framework for the information age. SFIA, the skills framework for the information age, describes skills and competencies required by professionals in roles involving information and communications technology. SFIA has become the globally accepted common language for the skills and competencies required in the digital world. SFIA is used by organizations and individuals in nearly 200 countries. The SFIA framework can be downloaded from the SFIA Foundation website. With its origins coming from the 1990s through emerging best practice and various industry frameworks, SFIA was first published as SFIA in the year 2000 and is regularly updated. The current version, SFIA version 8, was released in September 2021. The complete reference guide, which is available online and can be downloaded from the SFIA Foundation website, describes the 121 skills in SFIA version 8 in detail. Each skill comprises an overall definition, some guidance notes, and descriptions of up to 7 levels at which the skill might be exercised in the working world. These descriptions provide a reference of how the skill and level combined produce a more detailed definition of what level of competency each skill is practiced at. The skills are grouped into categories and subcategories for navigation and convenience of use. Color codes are used to help identify the category each skill has been classified under. For those of you that have used the previous version of SFIA, SFIA version 7, you will notice a few differences between version 7 and version 8. First of all, the total number of skills has gone up from 102 to 121 skills. Now that's a net increase of 19 skills, but that's not the whole story. There's actually 23 new skills within SFIA 8, but there's also been some consolidation amongst the old skills, so that ends up in that net increase of 19. If you think about each skill, it's described at multiple levels, so each skill at a level is a unique element. And in SFIA 7, we had 390 of those skill at a level descriptions. Within SFIA 8, you can see it's risen quite a lot. It's 495 different skill at a level descriptions that we have. So the headlines, 23 additional skills, 4 skills that have retired. They haven't actually disappeared entirely, it's just that their content has been combined with other skills, or they've been replaced and updated by some new skills. We have 7 skills that have been renamed and 9 that have been restructured, and some of those 9 have also been renamed. We've got a number of added levels, as I say, for some of the skills. We still have 6 categories, although you will notice that one of the categories has changed name. The blue coded category used to be called skills and quality. It's now called people and skills. That's because the quality skills have moved to a different category within SFIA. We still have 5 levels of responsibility attributes, but the order has changed in the way they're presented. So we still have autonomy, influence, complexity, business skills and knowledge. Knowledge comes last in the order it's printed. That's just the minor change that you'll notice. The skill structure has also changed slightly. The overall description of each skill in SFIA 7 was quite wordy in a number of cases, and therefore quite difficult to read as a summary of that skill. So readability has been a key theme in SFIA 8. We've shortened all the overall descriptions, just one line of text. They're a much better summary to describe what that skill is about. And we've moved some of that more wordy content into a nicely condensed set of guidance notes for each skill. So that gives you a bit of additional context and examples of how that skill is deployed in organizations. So here's an example of one of the skills in SFIA 8. You'll notice the name and the 4-letter code are still the same. Some skills do have a name change, but most of them don't. Most of them are exactly the same. And in terms of structure, it's still the same. The name and the short code. Then we have that much shorter overall description, as you can see in this example here for strategic planning. And then a guidance notes section. And then we have the descriptions of the skill at each of the levels at which it's performed in the working world. But you will notice that the order has changed. In version 7, we used to go in reverse order. So we would have seen level 7, then 6, then 5. In version 8, we've changed that round. It's now low to high. It makes more logical sense and matches with how most people will use the framework when they're using the document. There's been massive improvement in the readability throughout the whole of the framework, which has improved things no end, and we've had excellent feedback on that improvement alone. We have 23 additional skills. I've shown here the name of the skill in bold, the 4-letter code for the skill, which is in red, and then the line of text, that's the overall description for each of the skills. So this cuts across a number of slides here. So here we're looking at the first 4. The first 3 are really sort of information and cybersecurity type skills, vulnerability research, vulnerability assessment, and threat intelligence. We also have another data privacy skill, personal data protection. These next 4 additional skills really cover a data and analytics area. So instead of analytics, which is a single skill within SFIA version 7, that's been split out. We now have data engineering, data science, business intelligence, and machine learning. One of the skills we've added to the DevOps, DevSecOps, and software engineering type skills is this systems and software lifecycle engineering skill. We've also added some computational science skills. So we have scientific modeling, numerical analysis, and high performance computing. The business analysis area has had some update as well. We used to have in version 7 a business analysis skill. That's been split into 2 skills, business situation analysis and feasibility assessment. This next set of new skills cover the people and skills area. So we have workforce planning, employee experience, organizational facilitation, subject formation, and certification scheme operation. These are all added to the other people and skills related skills that we have in SFIA. The other new skills that we have as part of the 23 additional skills in SFIA 8 are shown here. We have service catalogue management, investment appraisal, audit, and business administration. We have 4 skills from SFIA version 7 which have been retired, but their content hasn't been lost. So analytics, the INAN skill in SFIA 7, the contents there have been refined and extended, and we've ended up with 3 skills covering that area. So data science, business intelligence, and machine learning. So most use cases when they're thinking about migration from SFIA version 7 to version 8, they will, if they had analytics as a skill, then data science is a good direct replacement. But of course you'll want to review and to remove it if it's not required, but also consider particularly the business intelligence skill, which does have aspects that were there in INAN, in the analytics skill. and then of course the new skill of machine learning. Business analysis has been split into two skills. We have business situation analysis and feasibility assessment. So for migration purposes from version 7 to version 8, it's a fairly direct substitution between business analysis and business situation analysis, but the new feasibility assessment skill may also be relevant and therefore should be considered and added if applicable. Conformance review has been split into two skills. We have audit, which is a new skill, and we also have the existing quality assurance skill, which has been refreshed a little. So in most cases, people will see audit as a direct replacement for conformance review. So that's the normal path to follow in migration, but people should also consider the quality assurance skill and add that if it's applicable. Network planning was merged into network design. So the content that used to be there has been moved across to network design. So therefore a migration from version 7 to version 8 directly changes the network planning skills at a particular level to the same level within network design. We have 7 skills that have been renamed, but with very little change to the content. So it's mostly just the name that's changed, a little bit of tidying up, and of course the structural change that we talked about. So security administration becomes security operations. The 4-letter code stays the same for each of these, so it's still SCAD for security operations. Information content authoring becomes content authoring. Information content publishing becomes content publishing. System installation and decommissioning becomes systems installation and removal. Change management becomes change control. Relationship management becomes stakeholder relationship management, to give a clear distinction between that and supplier management, which is a different skill. Information governance becomes information management. There are 9 skills that have been significantly restructured, and some of that has included changing the name for the skill. So in SFIA 7 we had enterprise IT governance. That's been made more generic. We've removed the level 5 description as we felt this was covered by other skills and therefore was a bit of a duplication, and it's been renamed as governance. Business risk management again has been made a little bit more generic and renamed as risk management. IT management has had the focus slightly shifted more towards technical service delivery management, and as a result we've renamed it as technology service management. Change implementation planning and management has a slightly broader scope, and we've added 2 new levels to that skill. We've also changed the name to organizational change management. Teaching and subject formation has really been split into 2 skills. We have the existing TAC skill, which we're now calling teaching, and we've moved the subject formation elements to a brand new skill called subject formation. Business process testing has a slightly broader scope and some new levels that it's described at, and we've renamed that as acceptance testing. Data management, that has had some of the parts moved to the new data engineering skill. Porting and software configuration, the focus of that has moved slightly more to cover design and deployment of software configuration, particularly for enterprise scale systems and large SaaS, but not exclusively. It does cover other situations as well. And that's been renamed to software configuration. Resourcing has been restructured, and some parts of that have been moved to a new skill called workforce planning. The color coding that we had in previous versions of Sofia has stayed the same. We have strategy and architecture as the first category in red here. You can see that we have 4 subcategories. There's been a bit of change in the naming and the structuring of those skills within this category. Had some move around from other categories as well. We have strategy and planning, security and privacy, where we grouped together a number of skills there. Some of them have come from other areas. And if you think about governance, risk and compliance, we have the quality management and quality assurance skills, which have moved from elsewhere in the framework. We also then have the advice and guidance subcategory. So remember that the categories and subcategories don't have definitions themselves. They're just a navigational aid. So moving things around doesn't really have an impact on the scope of the skill necessarily. It's just a navigational or grouping mechanism. We've had a little bit of structural change in the change and transformation category. Instead of 2 subcategories, we now have 3. We've got change implementation, change analysis, and change planning. The development and implementation category has had a bit of change as well. We have 5 subcategories: systems development, data and analytics, user experience, content management, and computational science. You'll notice a few skills that were in other categories have moved into this category. So product management used to be in relationships and engagement. That's moved into here. Felt that that was a better grouping and a better fit alongside things like systems development management. We have radio frequency engineering has moved from delivery and operation into here. We also have a number of other changes there. You've got data visualization, machine learning, business intelligence, those that were really associated with analytics, which used to be in the strategy and architecture category. They're now here. The delivery and operation category now has 3 subcategories as it did before, but they have been renamed and restructured in terms of the skills that are contained within them. So the first one is technology management, then we have service management, and then security services. So some skills that were in other categories have moved into here. So digital forensics is a good example. It used to be in the skills and quality section. It's now within the security services subcategory of delivery and operation. In Sofia version 7, this category was called skills and quality. We've changed that to people and skills because we've moved most of the quality management related skills out to other categories. So we have 2 subcategories, one for people management and one for skills management. There's fairly minimal change in the relationships and engagement category. We still have the same subcategories with the same naming, so stakeholder management and sales and marketing. The main changes are we have the new business administration skill, but we also have the product management skill that's moved from this category to elsewhere in the framework. If you download the Sofia documentation from the Sofia Foundation website, you'll see that one of the items is the Sofia summary chart. And on the second page of the summary chart, it shows you these generic levels of responsibility, the same as we did with version 7 on the A3 chart. They're presented in a slightly different order. Knowledge used to come before business skills, so it's now swapped around. So we have autonomy, influence, complexity, business skills, and knowledge. There's been some update to the wording throughout, so it's worth rereading these if you're used to previous versions. You should find it easier to read and slightly better structured so that you can see the themes that run across each of these 5 attributes at the 7 levels at which they're described in the framework. This information is also available on the Sofia Foundation website, so you can view the generic levels of responsibility in two different ways, the same as in the Sofia Framework Reference Guide. So you can either look at a level, as we have in the picture here for level 1, where we're seeing all 5 characteristics at level 1, but there's also a set of views that shows you each of the characteristics and each of the 7 level descriptions for them. So you can see autonomy on one page with all 7 descriptions there together. There was some excellent work done for Sofia version 7 to cover the behavioural factors that have always been present in Sofia, because a lot of people do ask whether Sofia covers these aspects, and it always has done. It's not always been clear to see. So this work has been updated for Sofia 8 to make it even clearer and to bring it up to date to align to the new and revised descriptions in version 8. So you can see within the generic levels of responsibility attributes, we still cover off those 5 attributes: autonomy, influence, complexity, business skills, and knowledge. But you can see how those elements contain different behavioral factors. So things like collaboration, communication, creativity, decision making, delegation, execution performance, influence, leadership, learning and professional development, planning, and problem solving. There's also some elements in here which are not strictly behavioural factors, they're more generic attributes, particularly around knowledge, and there's also some contextual descriptions there. So this document is available to download from the Sofia Foundation website, and as I say, it's been updated to align to the Sofia 8 content descriptions. If you haven't looked at the Sofia Foundation website recently, I encourage you to go and visit. It's sofia-online.org. You will find all of the Sofia 8 content is now there and live to look at online within the website. If you haven't registered, please do register. Registration doesn't cost you anything. You just fill in the form and submit it. You can also cover your licensing, and remember that most people use Sofia on a free license. So whilst it's a licensed product, for most people using it for personal use or within their organizations for non-commercial use, that will be done under a free license. So it's worth registering, because when you register, you can then log in and download the Sofia content, the various documents that are available. So we have the PDF documents. So instead of the single Sofia reference guide that we had in version 7, that's been split to 2 documents. We have the reference guide, which just contains the core Sofia content, and then we have a separate About Sofia document, which describes how Sofia is commonly used and how to use and interpret it. Then we also have the summary chart, and there is also an Excel spreadsheet version of the Sofia 8 content. The website also has very useful information on Sofia partners, training providers, consultants, and tool providers. It also provides things like the behavioural factors that I mentioned earlier, and a number of Sofia views. The Sofia views have been found to be very useful by people recently, and they've been updated to map to the Sofia 8 content. The best way to think of them is they show you a subset of the Sofia skills that are relevant to a particular discipline. So there are agile views, there are digital transformation views, there are information and cybersecurity views. So there's a number of views in there, and that just will highlight the skills that are most relevant to those particular disciplines. So it's a good way of making sure you've considered all of the relevant skills. We also have a number of industry role profile examples. So of course, Sofia itself doesn't define roles and jobs, but we have lots of examples that governments and other organisations have used Sofia to create a set of standardised templated role profiles. So those are available to view on the website as well. I hope you found this overview of Sofia version 8 useful. If you have any questions, please contact me using the contact details on the screen or through the SkillsTX website, where we also have a number of articles and blogs and useful tools to help you.